Very good. Roll call.
Tony DeMarco,
Here.
Ron Van Kirk,
Here.
Kathy Pucci,
Here.
Mary Belbeer.
Mary Belbeer is actually at the City of Cleveland's council meeting right now. Her and her family are being honored with a proclamation there because they won the James Beard Award. And so the City of Cleveland wants to recognize them and the restaurant for all they do for the community and congratulate them.
Kevin Tansky,
Here.
Andy Selhertz,
Here.
Katie Gallagher.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. We first have minutes to approve from April 14th. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
To approve, Tony DeMarco,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Same.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Andy Selhertz,
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes. We'll now proceed with our council meeting. First, I'd like to express my condolences on behalf of council to the family of Tony Eshik. Tony was a terrific man and a staple in the city of Brooklyn. I hope all the moms out there enjoyed their Mother's Day yesterday. Tonight on the agenda, we have a liquor permit transfer and 3 new ordinances on the agenda, 2 of which are rolling over existing bond anticipation notes, and the other new ordinance is regarding the illegal conveyance of prohibited items in the Brooklyn City Jail. Before we get started in the public session, I would like to recognize 2 of our newest employees. Vern Cultright, who has been a resident of Brooklyn over 25 years, was hired in the service department, and Martin Bayer was hired as a part-time zoning and maintenance inspector in the building department. Welcome to Brooklyn, gentlemen. I also would like to thank our service director, John Verba, for his hard work on securing an almost $200,000 in grant money to purchase an automatic recycle truck. And I'd also like to congratulate Fire Chief Zemek on receiving such an amazing ISO rating, which he'll have to explain what that is a little bit better. But we are in the top 10% of fire departments in the country. At this time, I will, do you want to, I'm 2%. Oh, top 2%, I'm sorry. At this time, we'll hold the public session. If anyone in the audience has anything to say for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn, please step forward, state your name, your address, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less.
Todd Hopkins, 642 Redstone Circle, Brunswick, Ohio, Treasurer of Brooklyn City Schools. I would like just to speak here for a moment to council, to our community. Thank you for the support of our recent renewal levy that passed here last week. We sincerely appreciate the support. It is very important to the district to continue to be able to fund the operations and programs that we have. So just wanted to say a big thank you to the council, to the mayor, and to the entire community. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn? Okay, we will now move on to reports of committees, commissions, and board. First up, Councilman Pucci for the Finance Committee.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met earlier this evening at 6:30, and these meetings are always open to the public if anyone is ever interested in attending. Our standing time is at 6:30 prior to every single council meeting, unless we move the meeting ahead based on our agenda items. We made a recommendation that council pass an emergency measure this evening, ordinance 2014-26, which is for the carpeting at City Hall. We've got some renovations going on at one end of the building, and we want to be able to coordinate the move by getting the carpeting in. We have 2 ordinances for our notes, ordinance 2014-28 and 2014-29, which will be on first reading this evening. We also heard from the mayor, who has been interviewing potential HR consultants, and he should be ready to move with that hopefully within the next several weeks. And that completes my report.
Thank you. Next up, Kevin Tansky, Recreation Committee.
Thank you. The next Recreation Board meeting will be held on Monday, May 19th at 7 p.m. in the Mayor's Court. And that concludes my report.
Next up, School Board Liaison, Andy Selhertz.
Next regular school board meeting is scheduled for May 20th, 2014. Regular monthly meetings are open to the public. On May 5th, a work session was held by the school board in a conference room by the administration offices. These meetings are also open to the public. Please attend since these meetings are where items are discussed, especially with the construction of the school and athletic facilities. It was not advertised this month on the calendar on the school's website, but there was some things there of note that you should know about. With the meeting, there was a change order in amount of $88,000 that was approved for additional money needed for a concrete stabilization pad for the athletic field. There was a discussion about it. The discussion included that there was more topsoil than anticipated, and down below the soil, the soil was described by the architects and engineers as being squishy, technical term. The concrete stabilization process was described as one of two possible processes, and it's now currently the preferred process. An additional contract with the Cleveland Electric Illuminating Company amount of $37,316.08 was approved for an upgrade of the electrical work. Last Tuesday, as Mr. Hopkins mentioned, Election Day, the levy passed with 1,115 yes votes and 985 no votes. Thank you to all of those that voted, either yes or no. That's only a total of 2,100 votes for Brooklyn when you have a possible 7,500 registered with the county. And usually in a presidential election, you see it maybe about 5,600. The bike rodeo was held this past Saturday at Ridge Park Square from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. According to Susie Marquis, at least 200 participants and volunteers, not including parents and people who did not go through the rodeo, participated. Her comment was the helicopter was great. Thank you, Chief Zemek, for that. And she's very thankful to all the people that participated in it. The high school spring concert will be held this Wednesday, May 12th, at the auditorium at 7 p.m. Brooklyn Middle School and High School PTSA gift certificate. They're doing what they did last year is Old Brooklyn Garden Center gift certificates. And you can call Marcia Heron at 216-749-3937 or Mary Copland at 216-548-1757. And these are gift certificates for $12 each that can be redeemed at Old Brooklyn Garden Center. You can also get the forms and return them to any Brooklyn school office. And that concludes my report.
Next up, Assistant Building Commissioner Dave Colsar for Board of Zoning Appeals.
Great. For the next Board of Zoning meeting on May 15th, we will be hearing an appeal for a variance request for a freestanding sign located at 4295 Tiedemann Road, Sunoco Gas Station. This was denied at the previous meeting. They are approaching with new information and appealing that decision.
Thank you. The Planning Commission met May 1st at 6 p.m. in the Brooklyn City Hall Conference Room. We deferred a request from B Next Awnings and Graphics to place a new illuminated pole sign and canopy sign located at 4295 Tiedemann Road for identification of Stoudemire Oil Company. We passed a request from Clinton Road Partnership for a site plan approval for a 22,016 square foot addition on an existing building at Aero International located at 9900 Clinton Road. Passed a request from Prospectus Architecture for a similar use for a skilled nursing and assisted living facility located at 4800 Idlewood. Passed a request from Perspective Architecture for a lot split consolidation for a skilled nursing and assisted living facility at 4800 Idlewood. And also passed a request from Perspective for a site and plan approval of a new 104,000 square foot skilled nursing and assisting facility located at 4800 Idlewood. Now we will move on to reports of council. First up tonight is Mr. Tony DeMarco.
Thank you. First, I just got a couple quick comments. First, I'd like to thank some of the
senior students of Mr. Kelber's AP English class that asked me to participate in the interview process for their senior project. The students were Grace Villum, Lenny Drodis, Sammy Huang, and Jesse Verbeck. There were a couple other students that were not able to attend, Abdallah Rami and Corey Verba. So again, I appreciate the invitation to assist with your senior project, and I talked to all of them about going on to college, and they all are continuing their education at four universities. Finally, I'd like to congratulate the residents and the school children of the city of Brooklyn on a successful passage of the levy. It didn't pass by a heck of a lot. But I believe this now gives the school an opportunity to execute on the plan that they presented to the community, and I look forward to seeing the plan turn into action. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Ron Van Kirk?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being part of our meeting tonight. Just one thing briefly, we're going to be tentatively schedule a safety meeting for Thursday, May the 22nd at 7 p.m. And please, it'll be just discuss matters of personnel for the fire department, also for equipment that they're requesting. So that will be Thursday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. If that changes, it'll be posted on the website either way. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Kathy Pucci?
Thank you. My sincerest condolences to the family of Vince Giordano. Vince was a longtime resident, Brooklyn High School graduate, and he was only 47 years old. So please keep his family in your prayers. My deepest sympathies also to the family of Tony Eschik Jr., who passed away very suddenly yesterday. Tony was a lifelong resident, a former service department employee, and the owner of Eschik Landscaping. His son and his sisters are also employees of the city. The Eschik family has a long history in Brooklyn. I've known this family for many years. My thoughts and prayers are with them during this very sad time. I, too, would like to thank the residents for supporting the school renewal. This was very critical to the financial stability and the future of our schools, so thank you. The Safe Routes to School Bike Rodeo this past Saturday was a huge success. We had a very good turnout and a large number of volunteers, including our middle school students. This year, in addition to the bike safety inspections and the skills course, we featured Touch a Truck, which was an opportunity for students to see up close the large vehicles such as the fire trucks, the police cars, our automated garbage truck, the VACOL, and Army vehicle. We also had several classic cars for the students to not only see but also sit in. Undoubtedly, the highlight of the event was when the University Hospital Medevac helicopter landed in the parking lot. Once they were given the all clear, the students who could not contain their excitement rushed over to the helicopter. Thank you to Chief Zemek for arranging for this special surprise for the students. As you know, it was the hit of the day. There are many people who were involved as we started the planning for this last fall, and this is truly a group effort, but I'd just like to mention a few. Tim Hitchcock from the Cuyahoga County Board of Health, Sergeant Cindy Eschweiler, and a special thanks to Susie Marquis and Haley Torek. They both worked tirelessly on this event. Thanks also to our firefighters and our police officers who are always such great ambassadors for our city. And I would also like to point out that this year we had several employees of our service department who volunteered to come on their own time on Saturday. And they were Service Director John Verba, General Foreman Tom Bruzak, Road Foreman Marty Reaney, Ray Mass, Bill Stanton, and Bob Kapler. Thank you very much for volunteering your time. May is Bike to School Month, which raises awareness on the need to create safe routes for bicycling and walking, and emphasizes the importance of issues such as increasing physical activity among children and pedestrian safety. Please pay extra attention as you're driving and exercise a little bit more caution because our students are biking and walking to school. Also relating to Safe Routes to School, I would like to thank the senior English students of Mr. Kelber, who each year have an opportunity to research a topic in the community, conduct interviews, and then they produce a mini documentary. Because of my work on the Safe Routes to School Committee, and this was one of the topics they chose, I had my interview last week. I would like to thank the students who participated on my topic, and they were Melissa Hahn, Taylor Demian, Katie Causey, Erin Chin, Amanda Mina, and Becky Stewart. This is not the first issue that I've been interviewed for, and I'm always so impressed by the interest the students show in the topic that they've been given and the work they do to find out everything they can. And I also speak to the students once the interview is conducted about what their future plans are, and every single one of my team was going to college also. This past week, I participated in another focus group of residents, and I'd like to thank them for giving of their time for the betterment of our community. And again, I would like to encourage residents who receive an invitation to please participate. I think I can comfortably say that the residents who have participated so far have been pleased with the process, and we have adhered very closely to the 1-hour time limit. Congratulations to 2 of our local businesses. Aldo's Italian Restaurant was selected as one of the top Italian restaurants in Northeast Ohio, and Inga's Styling Salon last week celebrated their 40 years being in business in the same location. These are 2 of our residents who not only choose to live here, but they also choose to have their business here. So I thank them for their commitment to our community. Please have a safe and happy Memorial Day, and please participate in our ceremonies and festivities as we honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kevin Tansky.
Thank you. Good evening. To Mr. Verba and the city service workers for their tree cutting work on Archmere. The resident appreciates the quick response of the workers in getting the job done in a timely manner and to a job well done. Also to the city workers for dragging and maintaining the baseball fields at Marquardt Park. Your efforts are appreciated. And Mr. Verba, a big thank you for securing the grant for our recyclable truck. And also hats off to our council president, Katie Gallagher, for finding the grant for the recyclable truck for our city. Big thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Andy Selhertz.
Thank you. We mentioned that the school levy passed. Also, last Tuesday, State Issue 1 passed, which was for the Pile Public Works. Hopefully, Brooklyn, somewhere down the road, once again can get some money, either for sewer work or road improvements through this Public Works Commission. At the last meeting, I mentioned that the Senior Center Spring Breakfast is a pancake breakfast. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. The menu actually consists of scrambled eggs, hash browns, sausage, and biscuit. As of this past Friday morning, only about 60 tickets were sold, so there's plenty of room available. Tickets are $4 in advance and $5 at the door. This past Friday, I had a chance to attend a meeting at the Cleveland Convention Center, which was held by Metro Health. The reason I mentioned that is about 50% of the squad runs by our fire department end up at Metro. You may have seen this meeting on the news or in other media. It was mentioned by officials from Metro that by the year 2016, they plan to be operating day-to-day without any subsidies provided by the county. They have changed and are still changing the way they operate, and have done so even with increasing their staff by 150 to 200 people, not through attrition or cutbacks. The bigger news is that they are getting ready to build a new campus. This past winter may have taken a toll on all of us, but on the buildings it was even worse, to the point that the hospital's patient floors were close to being evacuated twice completely. In 2015, they will be seeking input from the neighborhood and adjoining areas from Ohio City to the zoo to make the West 25th corridor more enjoyable, economic, and less influenced by crime. Examples given by Dr. Akram Botros, Metro Health CEO, were those of the work that has been done along University Circle and the Euclid corridor. In 2016, they plan on starting construction and having the vast majority of it done by 2020. As you may have heard, I'd also like to thank Katie Gallagher for her work in approximately October of 2012, looking for the grant for the automated recycling truck. I'd also like to thank Mr. Verba for his work on filling out the grant, so we actually have the money for it, which is a sizable chunk of the price of the equipment. This past Thursday, I also had a chance to go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and it was nice to hear from a business, the branch manager of the newest bank at Ridge in Memphis. He mentioned of a robbery that they had, and it was nice to hear as a compliment that the police department was there in no time, like in 2 minutes. The officers, the detectives, they made everybody feel comfortable, at ease. The robbery happened on a Friday morning at 9 a.m. By Monday, the suspects were apprehended. So it's nice that we know, even though crime happens, there's a fast response and things are taken care of. Also, the Brooklyn City Schools, I forgot to mention before, You can find it out at front at the counter. You'll probably find it over at the senior center as well. There's a questionnaire they're asking about Brooklyn TV. If you have a couple minutes, it simply says, do you have WOW or Time Warner Cable? Do you watch the Brooklyn TV channel? If so, which programs are you interested in? And would you continue to watch the programming if it was only available on the internet? They're asking for a response by May 30th. So if you have a minute or two, please take the time to fill them out and leave them at the counters. That concludes my report.
Hello, everybody. Although I appreciate the recognition for finding and forwarding a grant, John did all of the work. All I did was forward on an email. Since last meeting, I was lucky to attend an annual school board annual dinner at Polaris Career Center. I can't describe how amazing the food was served and prepared by the students there. Those same students left to participate in a national competition the next day, and both teams placed fourth in the country. Congratulations to all of them. If you've never had a chance to try the food at Polaris, there is a restaurant there you can make a reservation, or you could stop by their bakery during the day. We were told at the dinner that their reservations were booked till the end of the school year, so maybe I'll have to remember to remind everybody at the beginning of next school year. I'd also like to thank Judge Mike Astrap for coming to Brooklyn and holding an informational meeting about heroin. Over the last few years, I've witnessed this drug destroy a lot of lives in my day job, so parents especially, make sure you know about this stuff. A quick lesson: opiates are drugs that derive from opium plants such as heroin, morphine, and codeine. Opioids are the synthetic chemical substances made by prescription drug companies to relieve pain or act in a similar way as opiates. Common opioids that are abused are fentanyl, oxycodone, methadone, and hydrocodone, and the newest one out in the market is Zohydro. Lastly, I said this in the past, but there's a great website for parents to look up more information on this topic. It's called robbiesvoice.com. I would like to formally welcome to Brooklyn Gold's Gym and Ashley Home Furniture. Both companies had lovely grand openings last week, and both companies did a wonderful job renovating their new locations. At the Ashley opening, David Quinn, one of the owners, was there to celebrate the opening. And he started off with a little story about how there was a small older woman standing at the front door on the first opening day and waiting for the store to open. And when the general manager comes to the door, all she said to him is, your commercial is wrong. We're in Brooklyn, not Brooklyn Heights. And she said, so make sure you fix that. But Mr. Quinn went on to express how honored he was to have a store located in a city where the residents took so much pride to live here. And he was very apologetic for the mistake. I would like to thank the residents who came to the focus group on March 6th, like Mrs. Pucci already mentioned. The Marketing Steering Committee is wrapping up all the focus groups, and we are so thankful to all the residents who have participated so far. One of the common suggestions is that we have more communication with our residents about activities. The city currently has an electronic newsletter you can sign up for online. We have Code Red, where the directors will send out important alerts. You can like the City of Brooklyn's Facebook page and get frequent updates courtesy of Mary Jo here. And the Mayor's Secretary, Jill Ludwig, set up a Twitter page 2 weeks ago. So you can now follow us at Brooklyn, Ohio Gov. I would ask all the directors, make sure you're sending Mary Jo and Jill information so they could post these things and help the residents stay informed. I would also like to thank all of you that did your civic duty and voted last Tuesday. Additionally, I joined the mayor and Councilman Selhertz at the NOPEC meeting last week. NOPEC directors went through some updates and offered to hold an informational session about services in our city. Mayor Bellbeer will facilitate a session at the Senior Community Center soon. A reminder that the Friends of Big Creek will hold their 16th annual Big Creek Watershed Pickup on Saturday, May 31st from 9 a.m. till noon. If you're interested in volunteering, meet at the fire station at 8008 Memphis Avenue. And lastly, at Thursday's chamber meeting, former school board member and council member Greg Fry was honored for his vital role in Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce and for all the things he's done for Brooklyn and still does. I never knew that Greg's family was actually one of the first settlers in Brooklyn until this past year, but it doesn't surprise me because he and his family all love Brooklyn so much. So thank you, Greg, for your countless hours that you have invested into the city, and enjoy your retirement. And thank you to Mr. DeMarco for facilitating getting the candy for the Memorial Day parade for all the council members. I appreciate that. Mayor?
Oh, thank you. Most of the topics have been covered already, but I'd like to say a few words. The grant that we got for the recycling truck was $193,000. Mrs. Gallagher had suggested it to John, but at first we were ineligible for it because we had a problem with the EPA with our landfill. But once John showed them that we were correcting it, that made us eligible and we got the grant. So congratulations. We did do the ribbon cutting at Gold's Gym and Ashley Furniture, and I gave a proclamation to Enga's Hair Salon for 40 years in Brooklyn. And when I was up there, she reminded me that she used to do my mother's hair. My mother's been passed away for about 25 years ago, but she remembered her. Also, the fire department, they got a rating, like Mrs. Gallagher said, from the ISO, which stands for Insurance Services Office, has awarded Chief Zemek and the Brooklyn Fire Department under the Public Protection Classification Program a 2 rating. Now, what this means is Brooklyn used to be between a 3 and a 4, and they now got a 2 rating out of over 49,000 fire departments in the United States. Brooklyn's fire department is rated in the top 2%. So I think that's pretty good, and it's a reflection on our chief, Chief Zemek, and he's to be congratulated. We also notified the Chamber of Commerce about this because it brings insurance rates down, not just only for homeowners, but for businesses when you're rated this good. So we want to make sure everybody tries to take advantage of that. On Friday, May 2nd, we celebrated Arbor Day. We gave a free tree to all the 3rd graders who came here, and their teachers planted a weeping cherry tree on the front lawn. Myself and our building director, Mr. Fitzgerald, attended a meeting of the surrounding cities and their building directors, Parma Heights, Seven Hills, and so forth. And the purpose of it was to discuss problems that are common to building departments, like a company that, let's say, puts on aluminum siding and they do a sloppy job, and the next day they change their name to some other company and re-register, and problems like that. So our building inspectors are going to get together, I don't know, about every month or every 2 months and put all this information so they know what's going on between them, because all their problems are the same. And as long as we're doing that, I would like to explain to the residents, this is the start of construction season, so if you're going to hire someone to put on a roof or a driveway or whatever, call our department first and see if the contractor that you want to hire is registered here or if we had any complaints against them. And they'll be more than happy to give it to you. The other mistake that residents make is the contractor will ask you to go get the permit. Not all of them, but some of them will ask you to do it. And you can get it cheaper if you're going to do the work yourself as a resident. So they'll come in and ask for the permit. The only problem is if something goes wrong, let's say you put on a roof and it rains and your roof's leaking and you come down here to complain about the contractor, we can't do anything because you took out the permit. The only person we can go after is you, so you get the roof fixed. So you might be save a few bucks at the beginning, but you're going to lose in the long run. So make sure the contractor comes and gets the permit. We had an 85-year-old woman that came in and said she was putting a new roof on her house. And we says, you mean you're putting the roof on your house? Yes, because she wanted to save the few dollars. Wait a minute. So we explained all this to her, and then she realized the mistake she was making. And we had another one that came in and said they insisted they were putting the roof on themselves. So then when the inspector drove by the house, the guy had his signs in front of the lawn advertising his company, the one that was really putting it on. So just make sure you call here. Our building department would be more than happy to help you. And I also want to congratulate the school on the passing of their levy. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor. We have the director's reports now. We'll first start off with Finance, Director Enovich.
Thank you, Council President Gallagher. As of today, the general fund revenues year-to-date are $7,259,466.80. Our expenses for the same period are $5,538,561.14. So we continue to spend less than we take in. Our balance, our general fund balance is $9,233,869.42. And our total cash balance is $23,269,992. $222,017.13. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Fire Chief Zemick?
Thank you, Council President. I first off want to thank Lowe's. Friday they held a safety fair and luncheon for the safety forces in the city, and they also donated 200 smoke detectors to us at the fire department to pass out to our residents should they need them. So I want to give a great big thank you to them. As far as the ISO rating, it's the Insurance Services Organization. When it has more of an impact on our businesses than it will individual homeowners. When they look for their insurance, they kind of are at a it's like going online and picking your bank from LendingTree. That's how the insurance services look out there, and they pull the best insurance companies that with the ISO rating. The ISO rating is based 10% of it comes from our dispatch abilities. So our police dispatch has a 10% congratulations too on that. You have to answer your calls within so many minutes, and then you have to be able to dispatch your emergency apparatus within so many minutes 90% of the time, and our dispatchers do that very well. 40% of the rating comes from your water supplies and your hydrants and how well you keep the maintenance and the inspections going, which we do annual inspections, and we make sure the hydrants are repaired if they're deemed out of service right away. And then 50% comes from the fire department itself, the ability to respond to emergencies, how many trucks can you get on a scene, how much water can you get on a scene within so many minutes, and how long it will take you to flow that water. And then your training records, your hydrant inspection records, your hose inspection records, your gear inspection records, and your gear repair records, and your SCBA records, and all the record keeping that is needed within a fire department. They definitely pull those, and they want to see that you've done that. So I am. I'm very proud that I was able to give the city of Brooklyn a number 2 rating, and it is 750 departments out of the 49,020 have a number 2. There's only 6 departments out of 49,020 in the United States that have a number 1. So we're doing very well here. Usually it's a 3 or 4. So again, so that's what that's all about.
Again.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. So that's it. That's my report. Thank you very much.
Yes, I forgot to mention when I was talking about the contractors and so forth, Brooklyn belongs to the Heritage Home Program. And I'd mentioned this before, that if you qualify, your house has to be 50 years or older. You call them. We have the brochures out here in the lobby. You call them. They'll send someone out to your house to help you plan your new addition or your kitchen or whatever, free of charge. So, and we pay to belong to this, so take advantage of it. And then also, if you qualify, they can help you apply for a low-interest loan to pay for it. So that's the Heritage Program, it's called. Thank you.
Thank you. Service Director John Verba.
I have no report, thank you.
Sorry.
Assistant Building Commissioner Dave Colsar.
As the weather has warmed up, grass is growing, and in many places of the city very excessively. With the hiring of our new zoning and property maintenance inspector buyer, we're doing sweeps of the areas, targeting the high grass and complaints that we're getting in regards to high grass. So have people take care of that as they can, or we'll be issuing citations for those in the next few days, actually. Also, with that, we're doing property and maintenance inspections, exterior inspections, going through neighborhoods and just making sure that the properties are being maintained and helping citizens with repairs that are needed. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to requests, and first we have a liquor permit transfer. This is from yesterday's lounge to Bid Off Road Tavern, and I need a request for no objections.
Move for a position of no objection.
Second.
For a position of no objection, Tony DeMarco,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Abstain.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Andy Selhertz,
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes. Our first ordinance up tonight is 2014-2026, authorizing the purchase of installed carpet for the City Hall reception area and offices from Lowe's through the WSCA NASPO cooperative contract in the amount of $36,838.55.
Introduced by all, suspend the rules.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Tony DeMarco,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Andy Selhertz,
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
To adopt, Tony DeMarco,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Andy Selhertz,
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes. Next up is ordinance 2014-28, providing for the issuance and sale of $583,120 in notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay costs of resurfacing certain city streets to be approved by City Council together with the work incidental thereto and declaring an emergency. This is on first reading tonight. Ordinance 2014-29, providing for the issuance and sale of $516,880 in notes in the anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay costs of improvements to city buildings, including parking therefore, and declaring an emergency. This is also on first reading tonight. And last, we have ordinance 2014-30, enacting section 525.18, illegal conveyance of prohibited items into the Brooklyn City Jail of the Brooklyn Codified Ordinances. And this too is on first reading tonight. Briefly though, this ordinance states no person shall knowingly possess, attempt to possess, convey, or attempt to convey into the Brooklyn City Jail holding area or any other designated detention areas in the Brooklyn Police Department any personal items or belonging not authorized by the jailer or police officer in charge. Prohibited items include but are not limited to electronic devices, radios, tobacco products, lighters, matches, or any other sources of fire, drug paraphernalia, liquids, or foods not issued or authorized by the jailer or police officer in charge. And no person shall cause or attempt to cause the delivery into the Brooklyn City Jail holding area or any other designated detention area or to a prisoner or person being held in the Brooklyn Police Department any other items not authorized or issued by the jailer or police officer in charge. Okay. That's it. Does any other directors? Mayor?
I just want to remind everybody again, with the Memorial Day Parade, there's a little change in the schedule due to the construction on Ridge Road. So they'll assemble behind the high school, then go out to Southwood, up Southwood to Bidoff, then east on Bidoff to Rodone, then up Rodone to Memphis, and then down Memphis to the City Hall. We're avoiding Ridge Road because I have no idea what it's going to be like up on Ridge Road with all those orange barrels. So it's changed slightly. It'll be real fun going up that hill at the end of the parade, though, but that's all we have. Thank you.
Mrs. Pucci?
Yes, speaking of the parade route, I'd just like to give a shout out to our road foreman, Marty Rini. Looking at the parade route, he saw that there was the entrance to the park on Rodone, that could be spruced up a bit, and he's worked on this, even taking those big, what would you call, is it like sandstone? Those big chunks of sandstone, and he basically reused material that we already had down by the landfill, right? Correct. So thank you to Marty for taking the initiative to spruce up that area for us.
Does anyone else have anything? How about a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
To adjourn, Tony DeMarco,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Andy Selhertz,
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.